Are we recording?
Tradition. 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 All right, I'm good.
Dudes to Dads is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We're back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads. Hello, Alan.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yes.
Another amazing week.
Yeah.
In the new year.
Sure. It's going by quickly already.
Way too fast. Is it 2018 now? What, I don't even know what year it is.
I stopped counting after my 21st birthday.
I don't even know what year it is. But as I did promise in the last episode, Kevin, my good friend, is here again.
He's returned.
He has returned, but back by popular demand.
Yes.
I don't believe that for
The crowd is calling for him and asking
You're the most
for him.
frequent guest we've had here. You've been on here, I think, 4 times.
Is this the
This is
fourth?
the 4th, I think.
Suckers.
Wow. Just to show you anyone can get on this podcast if you really try hard, kids.
Yeah, you might have a thing there. Yeah, you might be right.
Actually, he buys me dinner.
Oh, see, there we go.
No, that's not
Robbery
true.
will work.
That's not true.
Nepotism
It's cash.
works.
It's
Cash,
yeah.
Total.
You didn't get any?
No.
Oh, well.
I just produce it.
So this episode, and Kevin is gracious enough to join us, is about family traditions. The importance of family traditions. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of traditions. So I'm going to run down just a couple different kinds of traditions. We have family traditions, which I just said.
Yeah.
I think there's personal traditions, meaning something that you do solely
On your own, maybe.
Yeah, practice on a weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, whatever.
Sure.
I think there's religious traditions.
Yeah.
Another one that came up was holidays. That's a common one.
Yeah, which is usually tied into tradition, to religion.
And cultural traditions.
Yeah.
Which can be all kinds of stuff. So what is a family tradition? So a definition is practices or beliefs which are passed down from generation to generation, so parents to children. So I have a story, and this is, I think, funny. You may not think.
do.
Yeah. Ouch. So I went into my daughter's kindergarten class.
Okay.
And they do like rounds of, they switch on Fridays, which I went in on Friday mornings. They do like a round of music, a round of garden, which is awesome. Huh. And then they do PE, like in the mornings. And
a round of garden?
A round, meaning like they 40 minutes here, 40 minutes there. It's a session or whatever you want to call it. They call it like moving around. So we're in the music session. And the music teacher's great, plug for him. He's awesome. Yeah. And he was talking about traditions because the holidays were coming up. And so he was talking about traditions and doing this. And one of the kids, no joke, he was asking for traditions. He asked, or he says, Black Friday is a tradition. And everybody, there was a couple parents in the room and the teacher was in the room. And he's like, yes, actually, that is a tradition. A horrible one at that, but it is a tradition. But it was just interesting how when you describe something that happens every year, it's passed down. This child was thinking about Black Friday.
And it's fun. Was Black Friday around when we were kids?
No.
Right?
No,
that didn't exist.
No.
Okay.
I recalled Thanksgiving was interesting because it wasn't called Black Friday, but many of Thanksgivings, the women in our family, so my aunts and my mom and stuff, would go shopping that next day.
Okay.
Because that's the first day which holiday shopping would occur.
Yes.
But they just went shopping. Like, it wasn't called Black Friday.
Right. Well,
there were some sales.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. Sales,
years
and
ago.
they kind of manifested into something bigger, and everybody got into it. And
marketing.
What's funny, it's a great American tradition, I guess, at this point in time.
But these things.
Hey, we couldn't even.
But
keep
this
that
is
straight
a 5-year-old kid.
Oh, I know, but that's my point, and that's how prevalent that whole.
Because it's all it's saturating the media, news, everything now. Yeah. So
we just all looked at each other and was like, well, no, that's not the kind of traditions we're talking about, but okay.
But
it is
the kid
still
was
a tradition.
right. The kid was absolutely
it is still
right.
a tradition.
Spot on. Yeah.
So we wanted. I've got 10 reasons why I feel like traditions are important, and family traditions specifically. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, of course, and depending on the types of traditions. So one of the first ones, and this of course resonates true with me, really strongly, is it allows you to create positive memories, that last a lifetime. So something where when you do a family tradition, even as an adult, I can go back and look at some of the things that my family did, and I'm now passing those on or whatever. And I have very, very positive, fond memories of those kinds of traditions.
Sure.
I won't go into what they could be, but
sure.
Whatever your family or whatever. And some of them could be religious. Some of them could be cultural. Some of them could be whatever, holidays. A lot of the things revolve around those. I mean, a lot of traditions are holiday, cultural, religious, whatever.
Yeah, generally.
So they blend with, quote, family traditions. So that's one of the things. They last they can last a lifetime. And it's positive. It's a positive memory. And a lot of times, that's what we have is our memories at the end.
You talked about looking forward to stuff for a kid.
Right.
A tradition is something they can always look forward to.
Hey, that's in my list, actually.
I believe it's your New Year's resolution show, if I'm not completely mistaken.
Yeah.
Which was the last show we just did.
Oh, my God.
Imagine that.
I still have a memory.
It's only a week old, but yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey, that's better than it was last year.
Second thing is family traditions are important because they provide consistency or continuity. So, and we've talked about this with children and how much they enjoy the same thing over and over and over, and yet over and over and over again, like a movie or something, TV show, whatever. They like doing it. Did I mention over and over? Yeah. So that consistency and continuity keeps the routine that's very comfortable. So number 3, promotes bonding. So when you have certain activities within the family, it's like a sense of cohesiveness, and promotes the bonding towards each other because you're spending that quality time. Number 4, creates a sense of identity. And what that really means is your family gets sort of identified, and they identify themselves with your family. And so that, that rings into or goes into a lot of different areas. But I always knew the Kreidman family does this. And it was that was us. That's what we did. That was our stuff. We always went to the movies on a certain day or whatever. And those are things that I know, that was my family. That's what we did, and didn't matter if other families were doing it or whatever. That was what my family did. And so it created that sense of identity and that uniqueness. The number 5, and this is a really big one as kids get a little older, is the offering of belongingness, which I think that is a word. Belongingness. As kids going to teens, so I've heard, because I don't have teens,
right,
that a huge element of teenage life is the feeling of belonging.
Right.
And so if they don't feel like they belong in the family, they're going to find some people that you might not agree with, that they're going to...
Unsavory characters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or they could be people that, hopefully they do agree with. But if they don't feel like they are part of the family and belong to the family and have something to belong to, they're going to find something. I mean, that's a need.
Yeah, it's the lost soul of it, when you're going through that transition in life and you're looking, people grasp onto religion, grasp onto everything. If you have something within your family that's consistent and you feel,
you belong.
A part of it, that's one less thing you're searching for. You're going to be looking for it in other places, but it's not a total void.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a great one. I mean, and I think no matter what age, everybody wants to feel like they belong.
Sure.
That is just a human thing.
Yeah.
So the next one, number 6, expand cultural awareness. So I think, the traditions that are passed on, definitely cultural, which that makes sense because it just said cultural.
Sure.
Which it can be holidays, religion, that kind of stuff can sort of seep into that. That you learn, you learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially during the holidays and things where you learn traditions that have been passed on from generations and generations.
Yeah, connections, huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about belongingness of just your immediate family, but think about belonging to generations of a family or generations of even a community.
Yeah.
And a culture. So it really gives, meaning to yourself a little bit. You have a bigger idea
You're part of something.
Time and space that's going on. Yeah, exactly.
Well, the belongingness is expanded.
Right.
It's not just your immediate family. It's it's actually a culture.
Interestingly, you merge that when you have the mom and dad that come from maybe two different cultures or two different religions. You have two different areas where you have two different traditions merged into your children.
Right. And if you've tried to teach them multiple ones without them getting confused.
Well, I mean, to me,
I thought we did this, but dad does this and mom does this.
Well,
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things about something like the religion and holiday stuff is, just being that value, having that stuff kind of put upon you. So.
Yeah. It's really cool.
The 7 is shows commitment. So we have, can reiterate how important commitment is.
Sure. Yeah.
That when you have a tradition, you're displaying commitment because you're committing to that tradition, which I'm just talking sort of in a roundabout.
But you're committing.
Makes sense. You're committing to tradition, which tradition is commitment. Yeah.
You should do seminars.
Yeah. But basically, I'm a man of many words. To show that, and especially displaying to your kids that you can commit to that, and you're wanting to do something over and over, and there's a strength there.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a word.
No, but that's a good one.
Tradition kind of in itself has a higher value to it, right? So if you can show a commitment to something that is really, you're kind of putting on maybe a little more of a pedestal because it's a tradition, kind of shows a little more value.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which, leads us to the next one, which is number 8, which is increase family values. Which essentially, unlike the bonding and the identity and all that, is just the importance of family in general. Realizing, wow, this is really important that I do this. And as the kids get older and they are looking to separate and step away, having those foundational things realize how important your family is, and those are the people around you that really matter.
And it arcs your other relationships as well. I mean, if you can have a solid family relationship and realize the importance of that, it kind of guides all the other crazy relationships you have to go through in life a little bit. Gives you going back to that belongingness, gives you a center. what can be traditional, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, nobody on their deathbed says they should have spent more time at the office.
Right. Exactly.
I should have spent more time with my family and those around me that I love. So, number 9, something to look forward to, which is one of the keys of happiness, which there was a study, I can't name it, but I know it exists because I listened to a TED Talk on it.
Okay.
And it talked about one of the most important things of happiness is to have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Which often, I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, that's, we plan a vacation, we plan, whatever, or some event is coming up or something, and you look very positive towards it. It's happy.
Just think about the Thanksgiving and winter holidays. I mean, everyone is always looking forward to that.
Wow.
Every year. Well, no, I mean, in a general sense. Okay, everyone, but in a stereotypical sense, everyone's a little happier. Everyone's a little more willing to give because all year we're kind of trudging along with the idea that this couple of weeks should be something better. Yeah. Whether it is or isn't, it's still the idea and kind of what you're pointing to.
The spirit of it.
So every year can be complete crap, but you're looking forward to that holiday season. If the holidays roll in.
It's stressful. It's financially, all this,
Yeah, but once you start unwrapping gifts and eating together and all that kind of stuff, you kind of forget about the money. It's when you're buying it and then seeing the receipts later and that kind of stuff. But no, I just think that's a
you have
kind
to pay for that stuff. I thought a credit card just lets you.
That was the least option to buy.
I really would be interested to see the studies of spend. The spend during the holiday of like how much what
percentage of
the income goes towards that versus and like the dollar amounts that swell.
Sure.
At the towards the holiday of spending.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Like what that means, because for some businesses, and I'd obviously involved in e-commerce businesses, it's exponentially more busy during the holiday.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's the shopping season, right? So, but I think the idea is, less more about the presents and the, seeing family, traveling, looking forward to doing stuff that you're going to do every year.
Traditions.
Yeah. Exactly. Some years you may get sweet presents, some years you're not. But if you're always with your family or traveling to see different family or whatever you do for the holidays, it's something you look forward to.
Well, it's funny, as you get older, the presents, it's like, I mean, I don't know about you guys. It's like, I don't even think about that anymore.
I don't think about it at all. I like the aspect of food.
Yeah.
And the hanging out thing.
Yeah.
Like,
but
like being
getting
around.
the gifts, like it's just not even, it's not even an element of the holiday that I need anymore.
Yeah.
No. I thought you were thinking about remembering gifts that you got.
I do
kid,
like giving.
Oh, and I remember, the gifts I got. That was fun.
I love giving them for the
kids,
kids,
especially the kids.
Oh gosh, you see their face. At the same time, I will say, especially watching the kids, you realize how little you actually need to do versus how much effort is made into do. Like, I witness, this all the time, is like how people will just spend and get so much stuff. And then the kid is interested in the box or the tennis ball with a string on it, whereas you make so much effort to have all this stuff, because that's, some people show their love that way, whatever. And the reality is it's such a short-term enjoyment.
Sure, yeah.
And you only realize that when you get older.
Right.
Because I remember as a kid, I had to have X, Y, Z.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. And how just material that stuff was, And just now, it's like you get to sit back and laugh.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's just such a different time. And then the last thing, at least with this list, is most of the time the traditions are fun and enjoyable. So
there's certainly ones that aren't, and that's their traditions, and those can be cultural and things like that. Absolutely.
But most of
I
the
went
time,
through a bar mitzvah that wasn't very fun and enjoyable until the very end, and that's a tradition. So, I think there's a lot of religious and cultural ones people say aren't exactly fun and enjoyable. I think the idea is that you take something away from it, that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be how it always was, but that you're continuing to introduce this to your family and everything else, and that you're getting something out of it.
Right.
And then and then obviously the ones that are fun and enjoyable, the ones you go look forward to and come back to the most.
Right.
Sure.
But if you've got to do something at a certain age, it may not be the most fun, but it's still a tradition.
Yeah. So didn't kill you.
Yeah. So let us know how or what you think or why, let's say, family traditions are important.
Yeah.
So let us know why traditions are important for you.
Yeah.
Give us an email.
Yeah.
podcast@dudestodads.com. Also Twitter @dudestodads.
Tweet at us.
You can tweet us.
You could tweet us up.
You can Twitterer us.
And if you got a good tradition that you like to share, videos, anything like that, that
would be fun too. Well, and so we are gonna.
That would be kind of cool to get some submissions of video related.
Man.
Yeah. Some funny ones. There are definitely some funny ones. But so there's a website called The Art of Manliness.
The Art of Manliness.
Great website though. It's got articles and all kinds of stuff. Some of it parenting, just about being a man, and a lot of blogs, that kind of stuff. They had a list of 60 family tradition ideas.
Oh, geez.
So I picked out 10 of them that I liked. So I wanted to go over these because these are things that I feel like I could definitely relate to or want to or may already have in my life. And they just, and if anything, I think gave, especially for the new year, gave me some inspiration to really go back and evaluate these and do some. I mean, it's inspiring to do that. So I'll put the link to the article on the episode page, but wanted to go over a couple of these. So I love this one. A secret handshake within your family.
I've got one with the kids.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Do you really?
I do.
So
that's hilarious.
I wouldn't say it's secret. It's just more of our handshake. I mean, I wouldn't care if somebody knew it.
Yeah.
But I actually came up with that. Gosh, I don't know.
That's so cool.
A few years ago. So it's.
So this was one, and they took this, I guess, from a book. It's called The Book of New Family Traditions. So there was a family that, from the kids are young or whatever, squeezed their hand 3 times to mean I love you. So I love you, each squeeze. So when the daughter got married, the father was walking her down the aisle and squeezed her hand 3 times while he's walking her down the aisle. That is really cool. That's a very sentimental thing. And she said, nobody else knew. It was our secret communication, but even as an adult, that's something that you can share. And I was like, I text my wife after I read that. I'm like, we're doing this. I mean, it's just a really, really cool thing, to think about that, to have that sort of nonverbal communication, if you will. That's like, so that's something I definitely would love to try. The second is bedtime stories. The routine or the tradition of, before they go to bed, being able to share a story together. And that's something I saw an article that a dad, he was a single dad, and he read to his daughter every night for 9 years, over 3,100 nights.
Wow.
Straight. Said now if he missed, came home too late, she came home too, whatever, I guess they would do it in the morning.
Wake her up.
So they started they started a thing where they started out with 100.
Yeah.
And this was a pretty big news story, I guess. They started with 100, and then when they finished the 100, because it was like a challenge, I think, throughout the community or something, the daughter was like, hey, let's do 1,000. And it just kept going. And so talk about the bond that's created there, where you have this, for 9 years, every single day. That is really, really cool. And,
would they read together
he read. Yeah.
To her.
He read to her.
Wow.
So I think that's what it was. Is that even as and
I've known, and I can see this happening where as
your kid starts reading.
Well, your kids read, then you just bring a book and read next to them. But you're not sharing the book, but you're sharing the time.
No, yeah. For them, they actually shared the story. So they got into Harry Potter, all kinds of stuff. Long books.
Yeah.
And
the Potter take a while.
I was going to say, but they read a chapter or something. How long do they read?
Yeah. Yeah, we try to do that with our kids, and we read 15 to 20 minutes, which is a school requires it now. It's part of their homework.
Right.
Literally, they're supposed to read to them. So, so dear school, we're doing it. We didn't just sign off on it. This is something that is great too. I want to do this is family game night. So I think the idea of not only doing something and offline, if you will. So we talked about board games, things like that. Those are card games.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things you could do for a family game.
Oh man, my sister-in-law came out to visit, and my kids and her played War. Remember the card game War?
Yeah.
So much. You would think back to you were saying about kids doing things over and over again once they really like it.
It's been 20 hours. You guys can stop.
Well, it was more like 7 days in a row, an hour a day. They would just go play and take forever. And then they bring me in, and we had 3-way wars and 4-way wars.
With doubles.
With all kinds of decks and stuff. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So
it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. And there's all kinds of games we talked about last time that, are out.
Well, and specifying a specific night. So you make it, hey, it's, Friday night, Saturday night, whatever. It could make sense. And I knew, I once had a teacher for sales that their kids were in high school and they still had game night. They had been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Every week they had a game night. And I was like, wow. The kids are in high school and willing to stay home on a certain night to play with their family. Whereas if you didn't start that early, there is no way your kids are going to hang out.
That's a hard sell at 15.
Sorry, Dad, it's Friday. I am not staying home for game night. Okay, let's play the game and then you can go out. That kind of thing. Another one is movie night. That's a good tradition, so just watching a movie together and maybe, rotating who gets to choose. That's something else. Because in our family, I get to choose everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, totally.
I am not watching that cartoon movie again. Because we'd watch the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, no, that gets better.
Do you have to choose a different one?
Yes.
You can't choose the same one.
No, we can't watch Toy Story 38 times.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Because, we did, but
when they're younger, there's something you can do about it. As they get older, it gets a little better. Yeah, but when they find something, they're young. First
they
of
latch
all,
onto it,
and you let it. Because
you know what though, we made the mistake of not introducing them to too many things. In a sense, because we didn't watch a lot of TV. So we didn't introduce them to that. So they would just do the same thing. I'm thinking even if we introduced more, they'd probably just pick one or two favorites.
Sure.
But I was like, you know what? We need to introduce them to more movies so that we can make a variety. Because it was Cars, Toy Story, whatever, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it was the same things over and over. I'm like, okay, we need to...
We don't work for Pixar. We can go somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. We need to introduce Snoopy. We need to introduce,
Well, that's what's cool is going back, in the old Disney movies and things like that. Those are cool. Yeah. They still love them. Lady and the Tramp, all those types of good ones that we saw as kids.
You have an archive of classics to really go after at this point. You have
it's a lot
so
of fun.
many different things you can bring from your childhood into it.
Go on Netflix. There's 150. Now, granted, 100 of them are horrid, but there's 50 solid movies.
But everybody, it's the same theme every time.
I know.
Someone's really good looking, they marry somebody really good looking, or they're really ugly, and then somebody dies, and that's the moral of the story in every single one.
They all have a kind of motif. And I watched some old television shows I used to watch, like cartoons, and realize how terrible they are.
My kids just discovered Tom and Jerry.
Some of them are great though, like things like that classic Tom and Jerry, classic Bugs Bunny.
Like, this is when they were friends.
Yeah. The really, really old ones where the humor's kind of adultish.
Little Rascals.
Like all that stuff's like so much more fun.
Yeah. But I mean, they had like cartoon characters smoking. Like you see Bugs Bunny with a pack of cigarettes. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Total inappropriate humor.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Well, so those are good. So number 5, like a Saturday, Sunday morning breakfast. That's a great one. Just making French toast or eggs or pancakes or whatever. The kids will definitely look forward to something like that.
And they help with you?
Could.
If
as they get older, absolutely.
Hey,
absolutely.
If you make a mess, possibly.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely something that to look forward to. Where okay, Sunday mornings we have our family, family breakfast, or you can go out. I mean, some people go out to eat. Go out to eat. Either way. Number 6, the weekly family meeting. Now, this is definitely a tradition that I said. This was what I picked for my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, from the last one.
So I think that one resonates pretty well with me. As far as having that family meeting and getting those kids involved, that's a great tradition to pass on. Number 7, family service day. You can maybe do this monthly, and I think Kevin, you had touched on this in a previous episode, where the idea of serving the community and doing that. And making that a tradition. And so whether you are during the holiday, you go and help people that are less fortunate, or it's just a random day. A lot of people do that with their religious organizations or something. It doesn't matter. You just pick something. You could go help a shelter, animal shelter. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do.
And kids love to go see dogs and stuff like that, so you can really make it fun for them.
Yeah.
So that's something definitely of being of service.
But show them a bigger part of community. Show them, how to be a good person.
Number 8, yearly measurement on the door frame. Did you do this? Because I did.
Did you?
My family, I did this growing up.
Yeah. I don't think I might have.
So my room, when we moved, I had, no joke, it had to be, I didn't do it. I did it more than yearly, especially when I was younger.
Yeah.
But we had near our kitchen, we have 3 children. We had 3. I'm one of 3. All of our names, all of our heights, like throughout our entire childhood. And we had you could see, in 78 I was here, and 79 I was there, and it's like, we date it, and you have the pencil, and you put it on the top, or parents would put it on the top of your head. And I remember being younger, being like, okay, measure me, I'm taller. And watching a Different Strokes episode where he hung himself by his legs so that he could get taller. And I was like, no, I know I'm taller now. But I actually, then we did this with my kids, and we did a little rung, but I don't think I've done it in a while. We did it the first couple years.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done it since then. So I've got to go back and
We've moved, but we started doing it, and then of course we moved houses, so you kind of lose that once you move. But it's kind of a fun thing.
They're still interested in, and see the growth is crazy.
Big giant cardboard or something, and then bring it with you every time you move.
Well, actually,
we actually do cardboard cutouts of our children once a year, and then line them up in kind of a.
That's a great idea.
That would be funny. Put the picture of their face on it.
But it is amazing to see the growth. I mean, to see it and literally compare and say, "Wow, from this year to this year, you grew this much." And
as a parent, you don't see how much your kid grows, right? Like when your mom
you're there all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's incremental, and they got bigger because the pants got shorter. I used to step on those, and now you're looking for the flood. But yeah, it's.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, people, you've grown so big.
Yeah.
They hadn't seen me in a while. Now I'm doing that to my cousins who I hadn't seen since they were like preteens. All of a sudden they're taller than me. I'm like, what happened to you?
I know. It's crazy.
Awesome, little man.
Exactly. Still take you down. Come on.
Little Mr. Allen. Number 9, of course, as I'm talking about, these are, there were 60 of these and only 10 of them we're talking about.
We're not doing all 60.
No, we don't have time for that. The box of goals. And what this was is that on the first of the month, you announce a goal that you have for the month and then review what you did in the past month. So kind of looking back at the previous month and then also looking forward and saying, okay, here's what is my goal. So you write down on a piece of paper, you put it in the box, and everybody sort of reads their goals. So I thought that was kind of cool with having some sort of tradition, and you could do that in conjunction with a family meeting, with the idea that you're doing that, but having some sort of goal. So maybe this isn't resolutions. These are resolutions every month.
Right.
Yeah. And not being too critical, but like, hey, how did I do? Did I do it okay? Picking something else.
Tradition is, having that cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 10th one is a daddy date. I like this one, which the child gets to pick what you do. And it could be in the evening, so the child gets to pick where they want to go to dinner, obviously within budget of some kind or something. So your kid has expensive taste.
Caviar, please, Daddy.
Yeah. Father.
Mumsy.
Mumsy.
So that's something that, the child gets to choose what they want to do, and you're going one-on-one with the child. So if you have multiple kids, you pick, one child and do something.
Again, our experience, these are great. They absolutely love it, especially when you do a lot of stuff as a family and they don't get individual time with the parent, which, is kind of
reality is they don't.
Yeah. It's great to take your daughter out, and it's fun to take your son and go do something, and having them have some input's pretty cool.
Right. So this was from this list. I mean, there were some ones definitely that I recall as a kid. I mean, one thing that comes, to mind is just an annual vacation. We went often, we were involved in sports, and I recall going to Las Vegas every year because we either had a swim meet or we had a soccer tournament,
right?
And so every year was Las Vegas, and I totally was I remember looking forward to that like nothing, It was so much fun to go as a family. And even now as an adult, my family has some other things which yearly we all get together. One of my sisters comes from the East Coast, and we all get together, for nearly a week. Our whole family looks forward to that, and spending that time together. So that's a great tradition, to do. Not everybody has the ability to do that, just for whatever reason. But if you can make that, like we've said, like the commitment to do something that you can look forward to, that your kids know that's going to happen all the time, whatever that might be. I think it's really, really beneficial, and the importance of family traditions. At least, I feel like I can talk about it because they were so valuable to me.
Sure.
Having those traditions were just really, really important. That I still value those today, and that's why I want to instill them in my kids.
Yeah.
That I'm grateful that my parents did those kinds of things. So because it feels really, really good. You did feel like you belong. You did feel like you're part of the family.
Yeah.
It was just a great, great feeling. So how about you guys? Did you have anything that you can recall?
Growing up, it's interesting. I'll talk about a later one, like when my mother would have a yearly luau.
Oh, cool.
At her place, and invite family over and dress in Hawaiian garb.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Foods and stuff like that. And that's like just something she just kind of made up.
Right.
It was like, let's just do this.
And so it became a tradition.
A tradition, yeah. And it was more late in my latter years, but my sister's like 16 years younger than me. So she saw that very early on.
Oh, cool.
Like I think three to, and I was going to college, but I fly out and just visit.
Fly out for the luau.
Come out for the luau.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Be out there and get some great food and, hang out
That's
with the family.
Fun. Yeah,
so that was pretty fun, yeah.
What about you, Kim?
Mine's similar to yours, which is we used to take a summer camping trip for like a week.
I think I went on one of those.
I'm sure. It'd be like a week and a half or so, and we'd go, drive.
You guys had that sweet camper.
Oh, yeah. I had a tent trailer, and so we would do other camping trips, weekend things here and there. But every summer, my parents had their own businesses, so they would take a week and
shut it down.
And then for a lot of that, we would go with another family, like either family friends, or more often than not, it was like my mom's sister and my cousins and stuff. So it was a big family thing for that big trip. So that was like it. And then some other little ones, like I remember even going over to another family's house to decorate their Christmas tree, which it seems like it's not even our family tradition, but we were invited in to do that. And it was just, since we didn't have a tree at our own house, it was kind of a fun, cool thing to do. So
what about stuff now that you're doing with your kids? I mean, there's some of these things on the list resonate. I mean, did you?
We talked about the handshake. We try to do games.
You're going to have to teach me that handshake.
Secret, dude. Quite a few of these things are the things I'm striving to get to for a lot of these things you're talking about. But some of the things aren't necessarily a tradition.
Well, you had said you do some things that, but like let's say you do a family game night or something, but it's not on the same night, and so you now think about it a little differently.
Yeah, I've just trying to schedule something and make it happen the same night, whether there be sports that fall on that night or doctor's appointments or whatever the case may be. It's always hard. So it's more like, all right, we got some downtime, so what do we want to look to do? And my wife's really good about it, so let's go grab a game. And, especially over the break where the kids are out of school for a couple of weeks, over the holidays, we did it almost every night for like a half hour, 45 minutes before bed. We just played a game.
That's cool.
So, taking advantage of the time, that's really the best thing to say.
Yeah, and I think, there is value, no question, in doing those kinds of things. I think the one thing is, as hard as it is to schedule, I think there's something about the schedule that makes it really unique and important.
That's a tradition
if
to
you
it,
can't, you can add that tradition. So it's not that it's bad that you're not, but it's that's the part where the kids and yourself have something to look forward to. It's a routine. It's something they can count on it. Mm-hmm. It's that stability that they can count on and know. Like I said, in my family, there are things that we do sporadically that are fun, and the kids love to do it. But then those couple things that we do regularly, like on the Friday nights having the dinner or whatever, my kids love it, and they always talk about it, and they always, and I enjoy it too. It gives me the chance to look forward to that every week, where I'm like, oh, it's Friday, I have my family dinner night. That's just something that I think is really, really important. Yeah. So,
I agree.
So kind of take inventory for those listening. It's like, even if you do some of those things, maybe you can work around something where you can schedule it.
Sure.
And that kids will be able to do that. So.
Yeah. And some people talk about, making it, something I got to do. I got so much stuff to get done. Well, make it a productive thing. Every Sunday we garden, if it's working on your garden or working on the back. I mean, you can't say cleaning the house because no kid's going to fall for that one. But there are things.
We're going to clean the playroom every Thursday.
It's funny. I mean, I actually, it wasn't a tradition, but I remember helping my dad wash the car. And some guys wash their car every Saturday. So have your kid come out and do that with you.
We can't do that here in California. But
Good point. Good point.
You're not allowed to.
I just saw the sign that if it rains, do not water your lawn for a week.
Yeah, no, you can get fined. Wow. You can get fined here if you.
Oh yeah, because of the drought and everything.
Yeah. In our city, if you, if you, in fact, they are monitoring your water consumption. Yeah. Make sure that it's not irregular or whatever. They actually gave us a warning letter. Because I had them automated. I didn't even realize it. If it was a rule, I wouldn't have done it if I knew the rule. I'm a rule guy.
Sure.
But I mistakenly, it was on automated. I didn't even think about it. I'm only watering it twice a week now. Yeah. It's down to that, that much. And our lawn was watered a day after it rained. It didn't even rain hard. It sprinkled.
Right.
And we got a letter.
What quantifies the actual amount of rain? Let's figure that.
But we got a letter in the mail. I mean, a little off topic, but we got a letter in the mail, and I was not happy.
I was thinking it'd be even worse, like some dude knocks on your door.
Yeah.
Sir, you're watering after a rainy day. We're going to take you away.
At first I thought it was a neighbor narking on me or something, and then realizing no, they just meter it electronically and then they,
Interesting.
Yeah, that's true. They have
all right, well, traditions and watch your water, people.
And with that, another episode of Dudes to Dads.
Yeah, podcast at dudestodads.com.
Is our email?
Let's do it that. And then also Twitter, right? We got a Twitter handle?
At Dudes to Dads.
We're also on Facebook.
Dudes to Dads com.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, .com. And please go on iTunes and Stitcher and leave us a review. Even if it's just to say hi. It really helps with the ratings on the show, particularly in iTunes. They're really big on that.
And welcome all our listeners from Zimbabwe. We have listeners now. It's crazy.
Did we get the stats on it? We'll have to do one episode where we talk about the stats of all the areas.
I can bring them up sometime.
Yeah, it's really
amazing.
It's unusual to see the stats, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but we have a program that tells us where people download from, and we've gotten international listeners now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty. Cool.
It's crazy because their first language in many of these countries is not English.
Well, it could be somebody traveling.
Most of the world speaks English, and we're just a few that just speak English.
Okay, so here's some downloads. Not even looking at this. We've got Malaysia, Germany, India. Well, I mean, a lot of these kids, I'm sure they speak English, but there's just a lot. I mean, here's the full list here. I just brought them up on the screen. Philippines, Puerto Rico, France.
That would be an interesting
Japan.
thing. If you're from another country, write in and tell us your traditions that you do.
Oh, that would be cool.
Whether they're cultural, religious, or whatever, it'd be kind of interesting to hear that.
I mean, I think almost every country in the world is represented here. No, it's really amazing that we are getting that. Cool. There's obviously a huge distribution between the United States and then like Canada's second and UK.
United Kingdom, I'm sure.
But to see Germany and India, now some of these is pretty high up there.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool to see. That
is cool.
So the fact is that other cultures and countries are having dad issues as well.
We all can bond around that.
Yes, absolutely. The world is small in certain aspects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I always thought the Norwegians had it together.
No, their kids can be brats too.
Tell us what's going on, Norway.
So with that, another episode. Appreciate everyone listening. Thank you. Kevin, thank you for joining
us. Thanks again, Kevin.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
Alan as well.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next week.
Take care, guys.